Hi, Garrett Tushel, RV American Dream. We are here with our Coachman Apex 300 BHS 2018, and we're doing another upgrade. Our fan broke in the bathroom because, well, it's cheap, and we replaced it with the Vortex 2. It's a much bigger fan. Let's go check it out. Welcome inside. So here we are. We've got our Vortex 2 fan all installed, and we'll take you through the full process of how that was done. The whole thing took maybe 40 minutes, realistically. I think the video is maybe 10 minutes. I cut out all the extra space. It's really quick, it's very easy, and it's something I think a novice could handle without any problem at all. Just to give you a little review on the fan though. So as you can see, it is ugly. So that's a little disappointing. You used to have a big vent or screen and it let a lot of light in, and just being able to see through, it was a lot nicer. This has this off yellow plastic and it's kind of ugly. That's a little bit of a disappointment. I will say one of the great benefits though is because the fan, it pulls from the kitchen and it pulls the dust and it constantly pulls through here. We're using the RV most months of the year, anywhere from 9 to 12 months out of the year, because we travel a lot. And so our screen needs cleaning a lot, at least once a month. And you'd have to take out all 4 screws, then you have to take out the 2 other screws, you need an extension bit. It's a total big pain in the butt. Now, pull out the little handle, boom, your screen. As you can see, this screen has only been going for maybe 2 weeks, and it is already pretty dusty. We're gonna have to get that cleaned soon, but it is this is way easier. There's a little screw here. This fan comes off. This will end up picking dust up over time too, and this will need to be rinsed in some hot water and cleaned off also. But that is really nice as an upgrade to being able to very quickly take the screen on, or put the screen on, take the screen off. And so that's really nice. As for the usage, the fan is a tremendous upgrade as for how much air it's actually pulling through the RV. As you can see here, and this is the button that comes with the fan. We're actually not using, we leave this on, and then I switched it here. It's easier for the kids to reach, it was easier to access, and this switch is a lot more durable, and it's gonna last a lot longer. This switch is a lot like the original switch, and it lasted maybe a year, and then it just stopped working. It would come on in the middle of the night for no reason, so we got rid of that. We're not using it. We're gonna bypass it, go to this. And it's pretty cool. Sounds like a jet engine when it starts up. I mean, that's awesome. But anyway, so it is a lot more air running through here. This will go ahead and lower or raise the sunlight cover there that allows the fan to pull the air out of the RV, and that's it. So my one recommendation is though, when you're using this fan, before you flush that toilet, I would turn the fan off, because it is that strong. It will pull some kind of smell out of there and you will not be happy. So I'd turn it off before I flush the toilet. But with that last tip, let's take a look at the video and see how we installed it. So the first thing you're going to want to do is go ahead and remove the screw from the crank, and then remove the 4 screws around the outer casing. And this is pretty easy. You can use a drill, and once you get those 4 screws out, that outside casing is going to come straight down and pull out of there. This is going to expose the screen. You will need an extension Phillips bit to remove the screen, and as I mentioned earlier, you know, being able to very quickly remove the screen is going to be a great upgrade. You can see as I kind of fumble with those screws, they're buried down deep inside, and you'll see where those are at when you do this project. If you've never removed the screen before, it's a little bit of a pain in the butt. And this new screen is going to be real nice to be able to take off whenever we want to give it some cleaning. So you'll just pull that that screen out of there, and that will expose the fan and the motor and all the wires. That fan is just going to pull right off, and then you're going to want to remove the motor itself by unscrewing the two little small screws that mount it to the mounting bracket. This mounting bracket we will end up removing. It only serves a purpose to hold the motor, and if you have no plans on ever putting this motor back, and I don't, you can just remove it. It'll be in the way when the air is moving in and out of the fan, so we'll just go ahead and we'll cut that out in a little bit. But once you remove these two screws, you'll see that the motor is accessible and it just pulls right out. And then there's also a zip tie that you will want to go ahead and cut, and I'll show you how to do that in a moment. The wires are stuffed into a little hole here, and you'll want to pull all those out so you can get to the little wire nuts and be able to unscrew the two wires that provide power to the motor. So there you go. There's your two little wire connectors, and you'll one of mine was an unscrew, and the other one was actually a pinch. So this is where you want to go ahead and make sure before you unscrew these wires that you have pulled the power, and the power is at the circuit breaker. You can read your labels, and you'll see one of them is for lights, and just go ahead and remove that. Go ahead and remove that fuse. Once you remove the fuse, you can undo the two wire nuts and release that motor. Then you want to make sure you check to see if the fan fits. You want to take a look at which holes are going to match up with which. Make sure everything works out fine, and then go ahead and we're going to remove this bracket now with a Sawzall. So that is, hopefully you have a Sawzall, and I'll just cut the bracket on the left and the bracket on the right. Make sure you crank open your lid enough, because it does shake it a bit and it will drop down on you, and you'll want to get that out of the way. Great, now that that's out of the way, I recommend finding someone to hold the fan. It makes it easier being able to use both hands when reconnecting these wires. Just go ahead and notice when you took it apart. My wire was white to white, and then it's black to blue. I don't know the color wires. I doubt they're all standard. I wish they were, but I'm guessing it'll be either a black wire or a blue wire, and you'll go ahead and just take those, twist them together, and throw those wire nuts back on, and then throw a little bit of tape around them. Make sure when you do wire them up, you pull each individual wire to make sure that you've got a good connection there. Alright, then you're going to want to take the fan and go ahead and stuff some of your wires back up. This is just, kind of getting it all to fit back where it was in the first place. And you'll want to get the fan back, and you'll see that I actually put it in incorrectly there. But you'll want to match up. The important part here is when you put this fan in, the cog that opens and shuts the skylight, you'll want to make sure you match that up, and you'll see I actually did it incorrectly. As I screw this back in, you're going to see right there where my hand is, not the drill but my hand, there's a part that's going to actually bend out a little bit, and because at first I did not match up this cog correctly, and you're going to see that plastic piece bend. And there it goes. So don't do that. Make sure you, and you can see me reaching up there, just there's some other cords I'm kind of pushing out of the way, and this is just, you can zip tie them to some places, but you'll just want to continue to get the cords out of the way. But you'll see this cog even bend a little bit more here, and so yeah, I just backed the screw out, And there you go, you see the pressure release off that piece, and then you'll just want to match that up correctly, because that piece is going to actually be the mechanism that opens and shuts the skylight. So you want to make sure that that's matched up correctly when you put the fan in. And then go ahead and tighten up your other 2 screws so the fan is correctly mounted. Tuck all your cords away where you need them to be, and you can, you know, if you have some zip ties, you want to zip tie the cords together and tuck them into all the little notches they were in before. Grab your outer casing. I of course checked the window just to make sure that the opening and closing worked correctly before I reassembled everything. And then you want to put your fan back on. So you'll match up. The fan will have a certain way it goes on. The pin is actually shaped to only take that fan one way, and you'll want to make sure you put that back on correctly. And then there's a small little screw that just goes onto the end of that, and you'll screw that little fan blade right onto that pin. Then I put the fuse back in and checked to see that it worked. And so as I said, I had bypassed, so once we leave, we turn this on, and then that switch is going to actually power the fan from now on. The fan, we won't use the switch that came with the fan. So at that point, you just take the outer casing, and you'll want to just tuck all those wires back where they belong, and put your outer casing back on. And that's it. As you can hear, it worked fine. Another successful install. Enjoy your fan.